Dear me.
May I have a word? Do you smell something?
Now that you mention it, there is a sweet scent in the air.
I know we'll be in severe trouble if we're caught, but I feel oddly lighthearted in spite of myself.
Huh? Who are you guys?
We're for it now.
Oh, you're the next shift. Is it harvest time already? So, are you guys new? I know it's tough at first. Here's key number 2. Don't lose it, or else you'll get buried in paperwork. Whew. I can finally take off this mask. All right, the rest is yours.
Fortunately for us, the guard was a simpleton.
What is this harvest he spoke of?
All right, let's try again from that last part. And go.
I'm gonna study hard and make Tokyo great. There are so many books and movies here, it's like a wonderland.
Oh, good, very good. Oh, you're all so smart. I'll give you some candy later. Huh? Oh, it's the shift up already? I love working with these kids. The time just flies on by. Here's key number 3. Remember to give the kids their snacks. Oh, and don't forget to sprinkle sugar on them. See ya!
Why are there children here?
I'm going to study hard. There are so many books and movies.
Drat the luck. A guard here too.
You're not supposed to talk to me when I'm harvesting. Didn't you read the rules? If the syringe accidentally pierces the brain, the seed bed we spent all this time raising will be gone like that.
Seedbed?
Hmm? Hey, who are you? You're from the Ring of Gaia, aren't you? No way! Please, don't kill me! I'll give you this! Help me!
He's keeled over. Huh? It's a card key. This one says 4 on it. We'll be taking that.
What was the masked man doing to the man sleeping there?
I'm going to study hard. I'm going to study hard. I'm going to study hard.
He is clearly a grown man, yet he sounds a trifle naive, don't you think?
Huh? You're here already? I thought the next shipment wasn't due until a little later. Whatever. You performed the harvest properly, right?
What do you intend to do with that?
Turn it into red pills. Duh. Don't bother me. Hey, you weren't slacking off, were you? Is this all the brains you got today?
Brains? Are those brains?
Weren't you paying attention during orientation? We raise the people we take from the underground cities here, and when the time comes, we harvest their brains. Specifically, their neurotransmitters. We suck them out every day at the scheduled time. That's the stuff we make the food for the demons with. You know, those red pills? That's what this whole human farm is for. Get it?
That's nauseating. I cannot believe you can be so casually inhumane.
This is why I hate newcomers. Get used to it and get to work. If we're late, Mr. Tayama will be on our asses. It's getting about time to clean up the feces of the seed beds. Don't slack off.
This, then, is what Lilith wished for us to see.
Congratulations.
That sweet scent. Is it only my imagination, or is it growing more pungent?
Come to mention it,
A demon!
that sweet smell is the product of this demon! Quickly, prepare yourselves for battle! Walter?
Yeah. I'm Walter. I'm the son of a fisherman. But I'm scared of fish! I must go tell everyone!
What?
How cowardly of you, dashing off without me! Then I'll admit something as well. In all candor, I am a cat. Meow. This floor is so deliciously warm.
What is happening? Is this the work of that demon? Ugh, it's always like this. Demons here, demons there, demons, demons, demons. It's also demoning.
Are you awake? Thank heaven. Your madness was quite the sight to see. Doffing your pants and then doing that thing with your nose.
That's quite enough.
Good morning, samurai. I see you enjoyed the scent of my Yaso Magatsi. Oh, and I'll be taking these back. What were you doing down there? Yuriko's still alive and kicking.
That Yuriko told us a curious thing. She said that you're the true evil. And I understand what she meant after paying your utopia a visit. Being labeled a true evil by a demon. Quite an honor, wouldn't you say, Mr. Tayama?
By a demon? You mean that Yuriko's a demon?
What group's she from? What the hell is Mastema doing?
I see. That bitch. You don't know. You didn't see how horrible it was in Tokyo when the firmament appeared out of nowhere. You've seen the busted up buildings all over the place. That wasn't all demons who did that, you know. Most of it was humans fighting over food and electricity. When people get backed into a corner, they stop thinking about the consequences. They don't think twice about their fellow man when their own lives are on the line.
The unclean ones. They're like demons.
That's a good example, kid. Humans who think of nothing but themselves are exactly like demons. You're right. Humans are weak. That's why I built my utopia. Why I'm protecting them from the demons.
Humans are weak.
Face the facts. We have to live with the demons. We can't move to anywhere else. So if we're going to survive here in Tokyo, we need to help each other out. I keep the demons sweet with red pills for the sake of everyone living in Tokyo. We give demons food, the red pills, and they promise not to eat humans. It's a reasonable system, wouldn't you say?
We patrol the streets so the demons don't get into the underground cities.
The people underground don't know anything about it. so all they do is complain to us!
If everyone had humanity's best interests in mind like I do, maybe we wouldn't need the red pills. Sadly, there are people in this world who can't do that. So, we need to get those people to make their contributions to Tokyo some way, right?
And thus the people of the underground cities become fodder for your red pills?
We make sure to set them up with the kind of life they couldn't dream of down underground. And we always hold the highest respect and appreciation for their noble sacrifices.
Was that intended as a joke? So the masses live on the backs of the minority? That's quite the utopia you've built. Have you ever considered how your sacrifices feel about this?
If you don't got the guts to get your hands dirty, you don't get to say shit about it. I'll let you go today. But don't forget to kill Yuriko. Nobody's going to protect the human world but humans. You got that? I won't go easy on your asses next time.
Hold on! My neck! Stop it! Are you satisfied now, Walter? I can empathize, I truly can. I loathe that Tayama as well. But task at hand for us now is to eliminate the Black Samurai, Lilith.
Is killing Lilith truly for the best?
What? Have you taken leave of your senses?
It has been some time since we last spoke, young samurai. It is I, Abbot Hugo. I have a message from a certain someone. Return to the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado at once and travel to Shinjuku. That is all from me.
Very well. Jonathan, Walter, let us focus on our duty. Odd, though. Shinjuku. What task could await there, at that nominal Holy Land? It is miles from anything.
I'll register that as a new quest on the list.
Hoy, look!
Oh, so that is the Holy Land. I've heard tell of it, but this is the first time looking upon it with my own eyes.
It has been some time, blessed samurai. Come, let us hence.
Are we to go inside that sort of cocoon thing?
My goodness.
It's like a beehive in here.
I would like to introduce you to someone. You will soon be in the presence of the new leaders of this kingdom.
Introduce us? What's going on? What is that?
Sister Gabby?
I am Michael. Your deed at Shinjuku National Park was a grand accomplishment.
I am the Herald, Uriel.
And I am Raphael.
And I am not Gabby, but in truth, the Herald Gabriel. We 4 heralds shall act as the new leaders of this kingdom.
The legendary angels are here before us. Is this a dream?
Under the order of our Lord, I have watched over humans living in this land as Gabby. However, as time passed, the people of this kingdom became warped. They speak the Lord's name in vain to trumpet their authority and manipulate the people to their will. Our Lord is saddened by this state of affairs. We have sifted through the humans here, and once again cleansed the land of those who were found wanting. Every human in this land was created by our Lord. There is no life except by following His will. The people of the new Eastern Kingdom of Mikado will pursue the true way with us.
The true way? What could that be?
Lilith said something similar, didn't she?
Oh, that's right. This would be an opportune time to tell them about Fujiwara.
You need not tell us. You must not succumb to the temptation of filth. Those trapped in Tokyo are the tainted souls who were not chosen by our Lord. They are forbidden to live in this land. If they attempt to enter this kingdom, then we shall once again eliminate them.
What do you mean by eliminate? Surely you jest!
Stop it, Walter.
I shall repeat myself. For the sake of rebuilding the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado, kill the Black Samurai. That is all you need concern yourself with.
It has been decided. We are samurai of the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado. Our role has not changed. Let us go to Tsukiji Honganji. There we shall finally strike down the Black Samurai.
I won't raise a hand against Lilith.
Walter?
It matters not that I am a samurai. This is my stance as a human being. The new Eastern Kingdom of Mikado is no better than Tayama's Utopia. Both are ruled over by revolting dictators who care for nothing but themselves. Through my missions as a samurai, I've gained knowledge and wisdom. I've learned to doubt.
How lamentable!
I want to change this rotten world to one where the strong can shape it as they please.
You are throwing your lot in with the Black Samurai? Is that what I am to understand? You dare insult the souls of those who became demons because of her?
Jonathan, calm down!
After I pack my things, I'm going to Lilith's. I'll be at the residence hall. If any wish to come with me, you may meet me there.
So be it. Then we alone shall go to Tsukiji Honganji.
Wait!
Isabeau, not you too.
No, it isn't that. I am merely worried for Fujiwara and Skins. Even if we send no word to them, I fear they will attempt to enter the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado. And I cannot simply let them die. But at the same time, I don't have the words to talk them out of it either. I need time to think upon what is the best course for everyone. My apologies.
We are samurai, sworn to protect this kingdom. It is our duty to protect today, so that the people can see tomorrow, as they always have. What profit is it to plunge the world into chaos? Neither the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado nor Tokyo must change. I therefore pledge to smite Lilith, to restore the world to its former order. I pray that you will accompany me in this quest. I shall be waiting at the entrance of Naraku.
Congratulations on completing the quest.
I had a feeling you'd come. I can understand how confusing these very different opinions can seem. But let us say a new world was to be forged. What do you think would result? You believe that a leader with neither experience nor deeds backing him up could create a world for the people? Do you not see how the people would descend into a state of chaos as you rebuilt everything from bedrock? Does it not seem to you that Lilith spoke such tempting words, only to laugh at seeing us panic? Do not be so swayed by the concept of reform that you are blind to reality. My friend, let us go together and destroy Lilith, the root of this evil.
I see. So you have sided with Jonathan. I saw you making for the entrance to Naraku, and I assumed. But I cannot go with you. There is still much that I must think about. I shall pray for your safety.
How pathetic of me, weeping openly. I am not fit to be called a samurai.
Burroughs. Burroughs.
Oh, you came? Because you took so long, Mr. Tayama sent us instead. You can't get in from the front, but under the bench, there's a manhole. Open it, and a hidden path.
I'm detecting a strong... I'm detecting a strong demon ahead. Do you want to go on?
Where is Lilith?
Pathetic fools who cannot comprehend Lady Yuriko's wisdom. You are fighting the wrong people!
See an opening! an opening!
You have so much power, and yet, why do you side with authority? Now go, and learn for yourself the profoundness of your error.
Very well.
Lilith, where has she gone?
Master.
Burroughs.
Halt! You flies who hound Lady Yuriko's steps will go no further. Do you not want the knowledge and wisdom your ruler has kept from you? But I suppose an insect could never understand. I can do anything for the sake of Lady Yuriko, such as crushing a pair of flies.
enough!
The essence of the ring of Gaia is survival of the fittest. I am weaker than the fly.
I'm detecting a strong demon ahead.
You, what do you want with me now? I heard the story from your friend. You really couldn't accept my ideals?
Lilith, the Black Samurai. All the regrets of those you beguiled into abandoning their humanity. All the grief you have caused me by tearing our friendship asunder. I shall quell it all here! Prepare yourself, witch!
I showed you the unworthiness of your rulers, but it seems you'd rather live as their slave. You son of man. They who have debased themselves as the tools of an arrogant god. I shall show you the power of demons, the part of you that you deny. Perish in my bosom. I'll free your souls from pain.
an opening! Such is a samurai skill! I see an opening!
Do you hate me? You do because I want to change the world. Now, let me see that hatred in your face. Let it heat your blows. What a filthy smile. It reeks of God's hypocrisy. Wipe it off your face at once. Don't look at me with those empty, rotting eyes.
Not enough! I'm sorry. I must retreat.
Poor humans. Why do you think God created you?
What?
to use you as tools. You have been nothing but God's slave since you were born.
I won't be swayed by this blasphemy!
That's why I gave you knowledge and wisdom. That is where the power to break the fetters of slavery lies, so that you may recover the instincts you have long suppressed. The demonic path will be.
That is nothing more than an excuse you demons trot out so that you are suffered to live. You destroyed our paradise with this poison dressed as knowledge!
Humans are truly pitiful. It's all over.
Indeed it is. Your fantasy of that vile world is finished.
No. I am referring to you. For the gate to the expanse is being opened as we speak. By a youth, armed with knowledge and wisdom. By the hand of one you know very well. Your friend.
The gate to the expanse?
Congratulations on completing the quest. And 2 at once at that. Phew. It was a long, hard battle. Seeing it over brings a tear to my eye, so to speak.
We've defeated the Black Samurai at last. But the victory rings hollow. Those last words she spoke, the gate to the expanse, and her mention of our friend, gives me grave misgivings. Tayama told us once that Yuriko coveted the generator, the Yamato perpetual reactor. What was Lilith's scheme?
I'll register that as a new quest on the list.